Welcome to a deep dive tailored just for you. You wanted to explore entropy, right? And how it connects to us, to how we act. It's a big one. Color me intrigued.
It's a question that's kind of haunted, well, not haunted, but, captivated thinkers for a long time.
Totally. And to help us out, we've got two pieces by Ishak Badrishvidaner, Always Afterwards, Entropy and Sacrifice, and Dissipative Adaptation is Death Drive. Yeah, the titles are a mouthful, but stick with us.
Promise it'll be worth it. We're going beyond just defining entropy here. It gets at why we learn, what motivates us, even those kind of uncomfortable urges we all feel.
It's like we're peeking under the hood of our own minds. And our first source, it uses a great example to explain entropy, a light bulb.
Oh, it's such a good one. So picture it, you plug the bulb in, energy's flowing, you get light, which is what you wanted, but you also get heat, energy that's basically lost in the process, dissipating away.
Like, can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs, right?
Yeah.
Always a trade-off.
Exactly. And that's entropy in a nutshell. Energy transforming is never perfectly neat. There's always some loss, some dissipation, disorder increasing, unavoidable.
And this is where it gets wild.
Yeah.
The source says this isn't just physics, it's everything. Our choices, our relationships even,
Yeah.
they all have this entropy thing woven in.
Every gain has its cost, right? Every decision, there's a sacrifice. Makes you think about us humans, not so rational after all, maybe.
So if it's not just being logical, what is driving our choices then? Is it like deep down we know there'll be some loss no matter what?
That's what the source is wrestling with. And it leads to this afterwardsness idea, a Freud thing. We often don't really get the weight of a sacrifice until later on.
Oh, like when you make a big move, new city, new job, at the time it's all exciting. But later, when it's not so new, that's when missing your friends, your old spots. That's when it hits you. Afterwardsness.
Exactly. And in those moments when the cost gets real, that's where the deepest learning happens, I think. We learn best from a kind of entropic shock, almost.
The universe's way of getting our attention, huh? Not fun, but effective. And speaking of things not so fun, the source connects this to the death drive, too. Talk about heavy stuff.
The death drive always gets a reaction, but think of it less about dying, more like ultimate sacrifice even.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. How does being drawn to loss, if that's even the right way to put it, how's that fit into entropy?
So even our own deaths, the ultimate loss maybe, there's sacrifice in it, see? The source uses Lacan's real lack, what we as individuals have to lose so something bigger can keep going. Family, community, even just the species continuing on.
So we're wired to survive, to experience, to want things, but knowing it's all temporary and being part of something bigger, something lasting, that means a cost.
Exactly. And that cost, that sacrifice, it's inseparable from this dance we're doing with entropy.
Okay, starting to connect the dots here. But before we jump to the second source, this dissipative adaptation idea, I want to bring it back to our listeners for a sec.
Of course. This isn't just theory, right? It's about us.
Right. So anyone listening, this afterwardsness we've been talking about,
Yeah.
ever made a choice where the real cost, the sacrifice, only hit you later? How'd that change your perspective?
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And our next source, Dissipative Adaptation is Death Drive, dives right into that deep end, especially looking at Jeremy England's work. He's a physicist. Now, Dissipative Adaptation, not exactly catchy, I know.
Yeah, not exactly rolling off the tongue. What's the gist then? How does it tie into all this entropy and sacrifice stuff we've been unpacking?
So it's saying systems, they don't just give in to disorder, right? They can actually become more ordered over time, but in a way that actually boosts entropy overall.
Hold on, that sounds kind of backwards. More organized while getting messier? Like, I tidy my house by sorting every single thing I own into piles.
You're getting it. Think of a river carving out a canyon. All that water rushing, churning. It looks chaotic, right? But it makes something intricate, beautiful even.
So, hidden order in the chaos, kind of. Organized chaos?
Yeah.
Makes things more complex. I see where the dissipative part comes in now.
Right. And the source talks about how England, he's all about how systems take in and use up energy. That's key. It's like nature's found a way to make mess-making efficient.
So even entropy, which seems destructive, it can actually drive creation. That's a wild thought. But where do we fit into that as people?
Well, this theory, it says there's two main ways things adapt. One is becoming insensitive to those external drives, like walling yourself off from change, from that dissipation.
Like when things get tough, we retreat into ourselves, playing it safe to protect what we've got.
That's it. But you can imagine that only gets you so far. The other way is more interesting. It's about getting really good at absorbing energy and dissipating it.
So instead of hiding from the chaos,
Yeah.
we learn to surf it.
You got it. And this ties into something else Fedaner brings up, tuning in to specific patterns. He uses a wine glass, how it vibrates with certain tones, right? We're kind of like that, drawn to the patterns, the frequencies that match our own drives inside us.
So we're not just soaking up energy, but actively searching for the experiences, the knowledge even, that really resonate with us.
Exactly. That's what's so cool about this. It's our desire to learn, to create, to find meaning. It's woven right into this whole entropy dance.
That's actually kind of hopeful. But if we're wired to seek out these frequencies, doesn't that also make us vulnerable to, going down the wrong path sometimes?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And the source, it doesn't shy away from that. In fact, Fedaner, he connects these two paths, the walling off and the active engagement, back to Freud and how he saw the mind working.
So like path one, build the walls, keep the chaos out. Our mind's trying to protect us, I guess. But path two, the tuning in, that's where things get juicy.
Right. That's pure Freud, those drives he talked about, the urges we have for pleasure, for connection, for finding meaning. But anyone who's chased those knows it ain't always pretty, right?
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Much. Thinking you want something, then bam, chaos.
And isn't that where we grow the most, though? When things get messy, those walls crumble. That's when we face the raw energy of our own drive.
Okay, intense bed, I get it. Got to have that friction, that dissonance to really get ourselves and the world.
Exactly. And Fedaner, he doesn't shy away from this entropy drive meaning connection one bit. He's got this line, it's perfect. This obscure meaning is the meaning of truth.
Obscure. So not exactly straightforward truth, then. More like the truth you find by wrestling with the unknown, those kind of shadowy, entropic parts of us.
You got it. Not handed to us. Got to work for it. Through experience, through those afterwardsness moments, even when they're rough.
Man, we've covered some ground. Started with light bulbs, now we're talking about the nature of truth itself. How'd that happen?
That's how it goes with this stuff. You take entropy, which seems all disorder and decay. Turns out it's connected to our deepest drives, how we find meaning, all of it. Pretty wild.
It's like we were so busy with the individual threads, we missed the whole picture, right? Beautiful, even with the loose ends and all that.
And if we accept that our choices, our search for meaning, it's all part of this big, messy, entropic dance, well, it makes you look at the world differently, with humility and wonder.
Finding beauty in the breakdown, meaning in the mess itself.
Exactly. Even a little cosmic humor, maybe. Because even when we're trying our hardest to make order, to find meaning, we're adding to the universe's entropy at the same time. Ironic, huh?
I don't know about everyone else, but my brain is definitely feeling the burn after that one. From light bulbs to the human psyche, we've been deep.
We have explored how entropy, this force of disorder, might actually be what drives complexity, creativity, even our desire to learn. Big stuff.
Definitely makes you rethink things, change, loss, what truth even means.
It does. And maybe, just maybe, it helps us embrace the chaos a little more. Find beauty in the breakdown. And face those big mysteries, the universe, ourselves, all of it with fresh eyes.
So next time the chaos feels overwhelming, remember that entropic engine humming away under the surface. Could be the spark for your next big learning moment, Until then, stay curious. Keep asking those big questions. There's always more to discover out there.